Eventually, the goal in the path is to help people understand that to open their wallets and give you money will give them value in return.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
Welcome back to the Appraiser Coach Podcast. My name is Dustin Harris, sitting in the podcast chair, which happens to be my car chair today. Quick minisode for you today. I want to talk a little bit about something that comes up quite often, and that is marketing. How do we market as appraisers? I want to give you a couple of principles to think about today. I want to first, of course, remind you of another great principle, that is efficiency and effectiveness in your office with technology. ANow can help you to do that. ANow is a company that was created by appraisers for appraisers. Check them out. Go to anow.com. Again, it's anow.com. All right, folks, we're talking today about Marketing 101. I learned this lesson many, many years ago, and I try to remember it, not just in my own appraisal business, but when I'm coaching other appraisers as well. And this is the idea of what I call the first word. Okay. Now, basically, it is this, and this was taught to me years ago. Marketing should all be about the path. Okay. Eventually, you want people to open up their wallets and give you money. Okay. For lack of a better term, that's what the purpose of marketing is, right? You're marketing to potential clients that will eventually hand over their money or their credit card to you for you to perform a service or give them back a product. Okay. When it comes to appraisal, we're typically talking about marketing in the realm of either direct lending or non-lender business. So your goal, for example, is to get, Jane Doe on Oak Street to pick up the phone or email you and say, I need an appraisal done at 123 Oak Street and I'm willing to pay for it. That's the idea. And I've talked here on this program about the idea of making sure that you have, you've got a system in place for that. That your goal is to become known and become known as the expert. Okay, we've talked about that many, many times. Well, the question on the table today is, how do you do that? How do you become known and be known as the expert? Now, we've talked here about blog posts. We've talked here about vlogs or video blogs. We've talked here about getting in front of realtors, speaking at functions, lunch and learns. We've talked about lawyer lunches, taking attorneys out to lunch or to coffee and having a discussion with them about the local market, about things that they would be interested in. As an aside, okay, I can help you with that. Now, the purpose of marketing, again, is getting people to trust you, to be seen, you need to be thought of when they need your service. The interesting thing about appraisal is that people don't typically need your service until they need your service, right? It's not like you can put up a billboard on the freeway and there's your smiley face. And if you need an appraisal, call me. Well, what are the chances that people are going to be driving down the road and look at that billboard and say, why, golly gee, man, I need an appraisal right now. How perfect is this? What ends up happening is people get to know you, they get to know your expertise, and then they get divorced. And their attorney says you need to get an appraisal. They go through a bankruptcy and the judge says you need to have an appraisal. They go through an escrow situation and they need to either sell or divide the interest in a parcel, and they need an appraisal. They're looking at possibly selling their home and they need an appraisal. They are looking to remove their PMI and they need an appraisal. In other words, they typically don't need the appraisal when you are in front of them. They need the appraisal down the road, but then they need to remember you and go back to you. Well, how do you become that expert? That's what I want to talk a little bit about today. I want to remind you, of course, and pause here to talk a little bit about ANow software. Folks, ANow is the ability for me at any moment. And I'll tell you what I do very frequently. Maybe I'm a little obsessed with the numbers, right? I used to make fun of the stock market guys that are checking the stock market every single day. Oh my gosh, it went up. Oh my gosh, it went down. Okay, really? Whatever. It's long term, okay? I've become that person when it comes to my business. What I will do probably, 4 times a month on average is to log into ANow very quickly. And this takes literally 5 seconds. Within 5 seconds, I know what kind of revenue that we have generated this month so that I know if we've hit our benchmarks. Now, we've got a benchmark that we need to hit every single month, right? And typically that benchmark is met by the first week and a half, 2 weeks in. And everything above that is butter. I know that because I know ANow software and because ANow software knows my business. It is so easy to keep track of everything that you're doing in your business with ANow software. Check them out. Go to anow.com. Again, it's anow.com. Welcome back to the program, folks. We're talking about Marketing 101. We're talking about how do you become known and be known as the expert, okay? And I want to talk today about a principle that I learned many years ago, and it's what I call the first word, okay? The purpose of the first word. And we're going to talk in a blog aspect today as an example, but this applies to anything. This applies to video blogs. This applies to lunch and learns. This applies to having coffee with the attorney. This applies to every aspect of marketing, and that is the path. Okay? Eventually, the goal in the path is to help people understand that to open their wallets and give you money will give them value in return. That's the whole purpose of creating blogs, of having a website to begin with, having a Google business page and doing a little SEO, having a Facebook page that you're posting things on a regular basis to, having a podcast. That's become kind of the new thing and kind of an effective thing for appraisers in their local market. There's many appraisers out there doing local podcasts. Jamie Owen, Mark Skapinitz, others doing local podcasts that help bring business from their local businesses, right? That's the purpose. The purpose in all the marketing that we do is to eventually lead them to open up their wallet. Now, here's the thing, and you know this from personal experience. To walk up to somebody on the street and say, hey, I can appraise your home for $450, let's do it, is not going to work. If it did, we would spend a lot of time on the street talking to strangers. The goal here is to lead them, and this sounds very used car salesman-ish, okay? It shouldn't, because marketing is marketing, whether you're selling used cars or anything else. It's to lead them down the path to where they trust and want to use your services. That's all it is, okay? When I say lead them down the path, I'm not talking about the slimy, greased back hair path. I'm not talking about the deception path. And so often we see that in marketing and advertisement, that you are trying to market something that is not real, that you're trying to get value where there is no value to begin with, okay? That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about every single potential customer starts out as a non-potential customer or as a non-customer. They're always a potential customer. Your role in marketing is allow them to continue to trust, to rely on your data so that you are known and known as the expert. And this principle of the first word goes like this. If you are going to, let's say, create a blog post, okay? The goal with the first letter of the title of that blog post should be to get that individual to read the next letter and the whole word. The purpose of the first word in that title is to get them to go to the second word or to read the entire title. The purpose of the title is to get them to read the first paragraph. The purpose of the first paragraph is to get them interested enough that they're going to want to read the entire blog post. The purpose of the blog post is to get them to read another blog post. The purpose of the second blog post is to get them to put their email in so that they get blog posts or they subscribe to the blog post going forward. The purpose of the subscription is to get them to read something on your Facebook page. Purpose of reading something on the Facebook page is to get them to fill in the blank, right? Maybe have a desktop appraisal done on their property. Maybe when they have a divorce situation to hire you. Maybe it's a consulting job. The point is this, and by the way, I know that sounds a lot like the book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Maybe think of it that way, right? If you give a potential customer a word, they'll want more words. If you give them more words, they will want even more words. If they want more words, they will eventually want the entire article. If they want the entire article, they're going to want a second article. If they want a second article, they're going to want a video blog. If they like the video blog, they're going to want fill in the blank. You see how this is progression? The purpose of the first word is to get them to move to the next word. That's it. That's the goal. That's the key to effective marketing. If you can get them to move down the path of more and more trust, and by the way, again, this is genuine trust, right? They should trust you. You're an expert, but you've got to help them to understand that you're an expert. That's the purpose of the blog posts. That's the purpose of being active on social media. That's the purpose of videos and regular information that people want to hear. As you do that, that allows them to trust you. And eventually, they're going to trust you enough that they're going to open up their wallets because there will be a need for your services. So, folks, next time you are thinking about your marketing services, next time you're thinking about writing a blog post, remember this principle. The purpose of the first word is to lead them to the second and the third and the fourth. Folks, I hope that you've had an opportunity recently to check out my AllStar Team. Folks, for $49 a month, I give away the farm. Okay, literally go to my products page. Okay, I want you to just go to my products page. I want you to scroll down and just look at the number of webinars that are listed on that page. And then I want you to look at each one of them. And with very few exceptions, they are completely free to the AllStar Team members. And by the way, the exceptions have a significant discount on as well. That is a plethora of information with no obligation. You don't have to sign up for a year or 6 months. Okay, it is a no obligation opportunity for you to jump in, get some great content that will help you to be more efficient and more effective as a real estate appraiser. Thank you for joining me. We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the AllStar Team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.